What's up, mamas? I'm Rebecca. You're watching the Reseller Mom Show. Thank you for joining me today for your place for Reseller Mom content to get more done, make more money, and stay sane while raising kids and reselling online. I'm so excited. Today is the very first episode of a new series that I'm calling Reseller Momversations. And I have a fellow mom on today, Maria Materasso. And I'm so excited to have her. We chatted a little bit before we got on today, but I'm excited to just have a real conversation. This series is all going to be just two moms having a conversation about reselling, momming, and all the shenanigans that go along with it. So there's no script, there's no preset interview questions, and we hope that you enjoy it. So welcome officially, Maria. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Awesome. So I told you, like, right before we went on, I didn't want to talk too much because I wanted it to be, just like a cool, candid conversation of, reseller moms. And, it's always a little bit different for us, right? Like there's people out there that have all of this stuff going on. They can do all these things. They can be accountable to other people and maybe be sometimes almost a little bit more professional. And I feel like sometimes I just can't.
I know. So, I totally get it, especially as somebody who was a reseller before I became a mom. And now I'm a reseller as a mom. And let me tell you, the first year of my son's life, my life was like turned upside down, truly, because I was married, but my husband works a 9 to 5. He was out all day working and I was home reselling. And then all of a sudden I had this, tiny human who was completely dependent on me, also trying to run a full-time business. And I'm like, try taking a 2-year-old or a baby with you to your office. That's what I always tell people, and it's really, it rocks your world. And I think a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah, no. And I actually didn't know that about you. And I've watched your channel for a while. And so I know a little bit about your little guy, and we'll talk more about that so that everyone else knows. But I didn't know that you were a reseller before you were a mom. So that's interesting because I didn't find it till after. And I think, I'm a kind of person that's not a big, I wish, regret, whatever.
Right.
And I do really wish that I knew that reselling was a thing before I had Gio, because I really wonder what I could have laid down as a foundation pre-baby, pre-toddler, pre-all of that.
Absolutely.
To then, just kind of build upon it now, knowing how crazy it can be with a little one. And now, I have Gio, and he's going to be 4 in December. So he's like 3 3/4 or whatever. Right. And so I'm just kind of now starting to see through where, okay, it's easier. I really feel, I told someone the other day on Instagram, like, I feel like 1.5 to like 2.5 is so far
the
worst period as far as just trying to get things done and having as much independence as you'd like, trying to do this type of job or this type of business with a little kid. So I think you doing it beforehand, were you doing it full time before?
Yeah. So I went full time in 2015.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was working as a daycare teacher up until then. I have my degree in early childhood education.
Nice.
And then my Poshmark actually started taking off around that time.
Right.
And I wasn't really happy working as a daycare teacher. I don't know if you've ever, are familiar with the daycare world, but it's high turnover. It's very low pay for a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me see if I can try and do this full time. And it ended up working out. Poshmark, I feel like at that point was at its peak. I was making high average dollar sales all day long. It was great. There wasn't a ton of saturation and competition yet.
Right.
It was a lot easier than it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's when I went full time in 2015. And then I had my son in March of 2017.
Interesting. So going into it, you knew that this was what you were already doing. You'd be able to do it. You'd be able to still be at home with your child. And that was like kind of the whole plan.
Right.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think that there's a lot of people discovering it now that it's maybe more mainstream or more widespread that are doing that. And I think that's good because for me, and why I started the Reseller Mom Show specifically is because I felt as a stay-at-home mom that decided to, utilize that work part of her brain and say like, okay, something else. I need to do something with my mush turning brain now. Like once I add this business in and I have my child and I have this business, like there wasn't anyone specifically speaking to that. There were moms out there on social media, of course, that are doing what we're doing and they're doing great. Sure. And we know that they have kids and whatever, but I didn't feel like anybody was specifically speaking to me and letting me know that it's okay and that some days it's going to look perfect and some days it's not, and some days you're going to get everything you want done and some days you won't, and whatever. And all of those little tips and tricks that could make it easier specifically for someone that is a mom. That's why I decided to start this. And I think it's helped me a lot just having an outlet to talk about it and to do it, because I don't think I'm the best reseller at all. Like, I don't think I'm the best sourcer. I don't know all the great brands. I'm not great at pricing. Like, I'm just doing what I can. But I do think that I'm talking to moms and I'm making a space for us.
Absolutely.
And that's what's exciting to me, you know, in doing this. And that's why I wanted to do this particular series. And I'm happy to have you on. I want to talk more about like just how you reseller mom, like how do you get it all done? Like, because I think that's where everyone has such different lives. Our businesses are so different. Our kids are all at different ages. We all have different, you know, things going on.
Right.
But we can each take away a little something usually from someone else, because moms are resourceful. We figure it out, figure out how to get it done. So I think, you know, anytime you can take a nugget away about how someone else is figuring it out is helpful. And especially when you're new into it and you really don't know what to expect. So I didn't want it to be like any kind of formal interview, but I do have that question for you because I'm always looking to know, one, tell us a little bit about your little guy so we just have a context for like how old he is and stuff. And then two, you know, how you kind of get stuff done. Like, how do you source? I know you've talked on your channel about your new Facebook strategies. So you talk about that, you know, and just how you kind of get things done with your little guy.
Yeah. So my son is 2. He'll be 2.5 next month, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I have to say, he's a very chill kid. Like, he's that kid that will sit down and watch a movie. He will sit down and color for a while. He's not very rambunctious.
That's
like
good.
If he's getting crazy, I'll take him outside in the backyard. He'll run around like a crazy person for a half hour and then he'll come in and crash, sit down. But okay, so personally, I feel like the key for us personally into why he is the way he is because I don't give him screens. He has never held an iPhone. He has never held an iPad. He gets TV and that's it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for us, that's key because I'm able to entertain him with normal toys and things. Like if we're outsourcing, he's entertained by pushing the hangers with me, things like that. You know what I mean? He'll sit down and color. If I'm sharing, he'll, you know, entertain himself with whatever is around. Mm-hmm. That I feel like I always tell people that is just be careful. I feel like a key to keeping your kid calm is to not just rush and put that iPhone or iPad. Let them entertain themselves. Let them figure out how to, you know, do whatever it is they want to do. So I feel like that's key. And then also he sleeps a lot. Like he likes to sleep. He still naps for like 3 hours a day.
Nice.
He sleeps 12 hours at night. So I'm able to get a solid 3-hour chunk of work in during the day.
Yeah.
And that's when I hustle. So like he goes down at 12 o'clock, I'll eat a quick lunch. And that's when I'm spending 30 or 40 minutes doing photographs and taking measurements. I'm listing, I'm drafting, I'm packing inventory, all things like that. Yeah. And then in the morning, I get up about an hour before him. I get a Poshmark closet share in. I try and do my packing the night before after he goes to bed, but obviously any sales that come in overnight, I'll pack them early in the morning. Because once he sees the printer, and the packaging, he loves to help and it's such a hassle. So I'm like,
our little guys sound so similar.
So I try and do all that before he gets up or after he goes to bed at night. Like Sunday night, everyone's like, oh, Monday morning shipping. No, for me, that's Sunday night. Sunday night shipping is, you know, the shipping hustle. But just little things like that. Like I feel like, you know, just it kind of goes hand in hand with how you raise them kind of fitting into your business. Do you know what I'm saying?
You have to make it all, it's your lifestyle.
Exactly. There you go. It's your lifestyle and your business going hand in hand. So, he's okay. Like if I'm trying to get some work done while he's still awake, but he is, he wants to play. He doesn't have any siblings yet. His mom, come color, take me outside. Let's go to the park. And of course, like I'm going to drop what I'm doing and, spend some time with him and, things like that. So I'm lucky that he has that 3-hour chunk of nap during the day where I get all my work done. But next year, after he turns 3 and after he's like fully potty trained and stuff, I will be putting him in some type of preschool program, at least a half day. And that's when I will, I'm sure be able to take my business to the next level.
Yeah.
But as far as sourcing and stuff, my husband's home on the weekend, so we'll hit garage sales. Like I said, I'll do Facebook Marketplace. I also have my sister, which she lives in the same town, and she also works from home. She has a hair salon in her house.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she's my babysitter whenever I need to go to the Goodwill or whatever.
Good. That's good. That's helpful. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because my sister lives here too. We're from Jersey, so we have the whole, maybe old school New York thing in common, kind of. But my sister's here. She has a full-time job and she has a big commute. But a while ago, for her to make extra money, I turned her on to Poshmark and to reselling. So now I kind of screwed myself because like whenever there's a good clearance sale, or she also wants to go to the bins, or she also wants to go to Goodwill. I kind of like lost my babysitter because she's out trying to do the same things as I am. So like when our local consignment stores have a big clearance, we both want to go. Therefore, I need to find then another person to watch. But it is nice because we do have it in common. So I will say, she and I look at it very differently in that she's not as analytical and like super intense about it as I am. And like when we talked before, you mentioned about one of my videos, like it's nice to make those videos where I can completely geek out and nerd out about stuff with like details and plans and strategies and lists.
Right.
Like she's very not that way. So we need to go somewhere. Like I don't want to talk about it anymore. So it's nice to, have this outlet for that. But it is nice to have someone in the family that knows, about reselling and kind of gets it. Cause obviously our husbands, I mean, I don't know if my husband's useless. Like he's like, she packs things, she ships things. I don't know. There's clothes. And I tell her, just don't bring it in the house and keep it in the garage.
Right. My husband is, he's in finance and he has his degree in accounting. So he loves the number side of my business and he handles all of he preps my books for our CPA for tax season. Great. He does all of my numbers. He says, this is how much you need to make. This is what you need to sell. So he loves all that stuff. And which is good. I'm terrible at that.
You should have him on your show.
I should totally have an episode with him where he talks about the number side. Cause people ask me about numbers and I'm like, listen, I don't know. All I know is how much I make, how much I spend. That's it. He puts it all into the Excel sheets. So it's nice to have that because I feel like I would be lost without that.
It's definitely a huge asset to have. And, even if he doesn't want to go on camera or whatever, maybe you can just ask him some questions and then just repeat back on your show what he says. Of course, obviously you have to be really careful because I know people always want to know about tax things, but you have to be very careful about it. But I think there's just general terminology or concepts that people don't really think about and consider. And that's kind of a place where I'm at right now. I just actually hired someone on Upwork, which is where I get my virtual assistants. But I hired one specifically to build me a custom spreadsheet because I know what I want to know about my business numbers wise. And I know that it can be done, but I don't know how to do it. And then I tried to go to the library and take Excel classes, and I'm like, I'm going to do myself, and I'm going to get skills and be that person. And I'm like, this is going to take me hours and hours. Where this lady that I hired, I paid her a couple installments. The whole thing cost me $250. I'm going to do a whole video on it and show everybody the spreadsheet. But she jammed it out, and I told her what I wanted, in actual words, and then she made it. And I was like, you are the best person that walks this earth.
Wow.
It's so awesome.
That's awesome.
But I think, for people, maybe we're more creative and that's why we got into resell or whatever. And so, it is hard to get the numbers and really know because we're also dealing with so many one-off things. You can't really say this this line, this SKU, this, one set of whatever that I sell over and over again makes me money or doesn't, because we don't have that unless you're doing, which I do a little bit. And I don't know if you do like any boutique or wholesale or anything. No. So, if you have that, that is nice because you can get a feel for it. But for the most part, it's just random stuff that we find and you hope for the best. And I think I'm in the place now where I've been doing it about, 3 years. It was 3 years in June. And I kind of I'm counting it in like reseller mom years, right? So it's not like 4 years because I'm not doing it really full time. I'm doing it in dribs and drabs and when I get up in the morning and over nap time and whatever. So I feel like what I could have maybe done in a year, not momming is like what I've accomplished in 3 years as a reseller mom.
Right.
But in that time, I feel like now I'm at the point where I can really make sense of it all. Like there was the learning and the growing and the figuring, and now I can really be strategic. And it sounds like you might be kind of in that place or just past that place, like figuring out how you want to do with Facebook and analyzing your rising Goodwill prices and, your profit. I know you've been talking about that. So in a similar boat,
Yeah, I feel like, but I feel like it changes all the time, because like there's so many parts of reselling that we can't control. We can't control the Goodwill prices. We can't control Poshmark and eBay, changes and rules that they make. And I feel like just as soon as I get into a rhythm, something changes. Like I was in such a good rhythm with my sourcing schedule and what I was finding at my Goodwill, and then they raised the prices of everything by $1, and that really hurt me. Like I know it's only $1, but at the end of the day, if you're buying 50 things, that's $50. You know what I mean?
And that you're putting out now, and that over time will sell perhaps, but that's what I'm learning is that I'm putting it out now. Everything is front loaded. When I pay my photographer to process it, when I pay my list, I mean, I knew that, but I'm really seeing the effects, especially now that I've done some wholesale, some bulk buying, because you can buy 100 of one item, but you're not going to sell 100 of one item the next month. It might take you a year or 6 months. And then someone could argue, well, clearly you're not buying the right thing because it's not selling all in a month. But like that might work for everyone, but that does not work for me right now. I don't have those special magical powers to really devote the time to researching that unicorn product that is going to be that big thing. It's going to be, I get what I can get when I can get it. And I hope to God it sells. I wish it was more strategic than that, but
I feel the same way. That's why it really annoys me when some people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't just buy things because they're cheap and they're sell. No, like, why would I not buy something for 25 cents if I can make $10 on it? That makes no sense to me. Why would I pass over something because, oh, that's only going to make me $10. That's $10 in my pocket that I didn't have before. And I don't have time to go look for that thing that's going to cost me $10 but get me $50. Right. I can't just up and go to the thrift store whenever I want. You know what I mean? So I, like you said, exactly. I'm in the same boat. I do with, I do what I can when I can, and I do with with the resources I have around me, whatever I have. So that's what it is. Like, am I going to sell $10 to $15 items all day that I got for, 25 cents, 75 cents? Hell yeah. That's what's paying my bills right now. I'm not worried about the 5 or 10 other people that went out and found a Reformation dress new with tags, but they spent 2 hours trying to find it.
Right.
I'm going to find 10 things that I can sell for between $10 and $15 that I paid less than $1 for.
Well, and as long as those 10 things do sell in a timely manner for you, and that's a good decision for the way you want to work.
Exactly.
And I've seen it both ways because I have been trying to source better. And so I have seen, like the other day, and I posted on Instagram yesterday, it was like 3 sales that were over $30 back to back on Poshmark. And I was like, that's how it needs to be all the time. And I was like, but bam, it's not going to be like that all the time because that's not all my store is. My store still has $10 items or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you're in a transition period of maybe trying to do one or the other, you're going to have moments of good like that. Those home runs. I I just finally got back to doing like a proper what sold fast video like I used to. And then everything went haywire. Now I'm back. So today it's going to go live at 11. And I sold a really good item, and it was, you know, a great eBay sale. And I was like, I just wish I could have like at least one of those a day, you know?
Yeah.
But all what went into finding that is luck of the draw at the bins, or, you know, being very disciplined at the regular Goodwill or whatever. So you don't know. It is a lot of front end sourcing time to get that better stuff, when sometimes you can't go home empty handed if you only have 2 hours to source as a reselling mom. You've got to get what you can and make the best decisions you can. But I do think we're different in that you don't have the helpers or the infrastructure. Like I have a storage unit, so I automatically have that cost. And then I have a person that does the processing and photography for me. And then I have somebody that does the listing for me. And that's where it's funny, because I'm in a period now where I'm like, I thought that would help me do so much more. And it has, because there's a day that could go by 2 or 3 days where I don't even photograph anything myself.
Right.
It's just so crazy. But I'm like, but that's not how it was when I didn't have a helper. Right. And so I go back and forth on like, you know, I'm already going to build in, you know, the amount that I pay her to photograph and do it, then the person that I pay to list it. So now what might have cost 25 cents now costs me $3.25. Then you account for obviously fees, whatever, we all have that. But now, you know, figure 50 cents to $1 per item for storage per month, because I'm paying that, and that's ever increasing. So now you're looking at what was a 25-cent item is now almost a $5 item.
Right.
So when you're thinking, okay, well, if it's 25 cents to 10, that's great. But if it's 5 to 10, that is not great. And that's kind of where I think I got a little mucked up earlier this year. I'm kind of paying the price for that a little bit right now, profit-wise. So hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be a little bit more back on track. But I think it's having that mindset when you don't have helpers, then adding in the helpers, knowing it's going to cut in, but not realizing the chronology of the cash flow.
Sure. Yeah.
That messes with it. So it's good. I think the more that you can do on your own, the better. Like how
I should have specified that too before you know, I stopped talking. I should have specified that I am a one-woman show. So like you said, you have a ton of help. Like I'm me. That's it. Like I ship, I inventory, I source. So if for me to buy a 25-cent item, it really is just a 25-cent item. But like you said, even if you just had the storage unit, it's still an extra cost. You know, so that is definitely something to keep in mind. You're right.
Yeah. And I think, you know, people don't know what everyone else has. When you look at some of the other big YouTubers or whatever, you know, they have all kinds of different situations. And, you know, at first I kind of was like very resentful of having to get the storage unit. It was kind of like a bone of contention with my husband and I, with the growing, you know, garage takeover and, you know, closets takeover, and everything was everywhere. And it was a point where I needed to make the decision anyway, but I think it just kind of like manifested in that we were getting antsy with each other about it. So in true, like I'm like, that's it, forget it. I'm just going to move it. And I moved everything out, like multiple trips with my SUV, like getting stuff everywhere. It was like it took hours and hours and hours to do. But I am happy with the decision to have it, because it does keep it separate. It's organized in a way that it couldn't be here. So it does have a lot of advantages. I think the only disadvantage, one's the cost, but two, that when someone asks you a question, you can't just go and answer it. I couldn't just go and take another photo or pull another measurement. And honestly, probably doesn't really cost me that many sales, because people ask all these crazy questions and then you don't do anything anyway. But it makes me feel like it sometimes. Oh, I can't answer that question. I could have had a sale. Somebody asked me for the hip measurement of a leather jacket today, and I'm like I need. Likely it's straight down, because it didn't look fitted in the pictures, but I know she wanted to check, fine. But I'm like, oh, well, there goes a nice leather jacket sale, perhaps, because I told her, I'm sorry, I've already done my shipping for today. Can't go back to the warehouse, and I call it a warehouse.
It's more professional. Yeah, I get that.
So, you know, it's hit or miss, but For people that aren't.
If it makes you feel better, I literally, yesterday was like the day of questions. I swear people hear me say that I don't put measurements on my YouTube channel and then they go to my closet just to ask me for I swear it happens. I swear. Because I literally answered like 10 measurement questions yesterday. Not one person bought. So don't feel bad. Just don't, because the question don't buy.
Yeah, and most of the time, and I am gonna actually, I have, I think, scheduled a video. I haven't recorded it yet, but I'm putting notes together. I try to come up with topics, then I kind of slowly put notes together, and then I put them in the queue to like record it. But one about like automating your customer service a little bit, because I know that people get so crazy about it. And I remember my sister used to get so mad about like offers, and I was like, let it roll. Like I don't know, maybe it's because I used to be in sales, and so I'm used to objections and rejection and all of that. But like, to me, these people could say all of this stuff. I mean, it might get a rise out of me for like a second, right, but then it's over. And
sure,
having pre-canned responses or just having a good mindset about those things. And I think you've been doing long enough where it probably doesn't affect you, but I'm saying it more just for the good of people watching. Like, you got to let that stuff roll. You can't hold on to that, because it's going to ruin your day. And people are just crazy. Like,
they really are.
And they ask stupid questions. They ask a million questions.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is to rule it out. Like, you can't expect that if you say it's 30 inches, whatever, inseam or whatever it is, then maybe that doesn't work for them. So that's why they're not buying, but they were actually a legitimate potential buyer, but the measurement ruled it out. So it's not that they didn't buy and you wasted your time. You helped them figure out, and maybe that saves you from a return or a case or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
So, it's all in how you look at it.
Right.
I wanted to see here, because there was definitely, I did want to ask you a little bit more, because people have asked me about having a channel. They're newer resellers. They want to have a channel, and you are, bigger than I am. I've been doing it for longer. So I would actually really like to hear any info or tips or just general thoughts about being a reseller mom, and being a reseller mom with a YouTube channel, and then how you do all that. Because like, where is your kid right now? How are you recording?
My sister is here.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and actually, after I talk to you, we're going to Plato's Closet. I'm going to sell stuff to them for the first time ever. So.
Oh, I saw you post. Yeah, I did see you. Yeah, that's do a video, because people are curious about it. I mean, I think it's different, every which way, but do a thing about it, because people.
I think I'm going to. Yeah. But as far as YouTube, so it's so funny, because I never expected my YouTube channel to grow to even what it is today. I've had a YouTube channel since 2013 or 2014, but I didn't start really posting on it till 2016.
And so, did you start it to be a reselling channel, or you had it just for whatever? And then
I had it just for whatever.
Yeah.
And then once I discovered the reselling community, and that there was reselling channels, I was like, oh, I've been doing this for a while. Let me talk about this.
Yeah.
So it's really funny, because when I first started, and even up until like, I would say just a couple months ago, my footage and like my videos and everything was just so raw. I just kept it so authentically myself. And you'll hear YouTubers say that all the time. Like, I literally was just myself. Like, my kid pops in and out of my videos. My lighting isn't the best. I don't have like a fancy background or anything. I just turned the camera on and talked about what I knew to be true, what I knew worked on Poshmark, what I knew didn't work on Poshmark, my eBay successes and failures. And I just had like word vomit where I turned on the camera and spoke about what I felt to be true. And I feel like people respected that, and people flocked to that, because there's so much fluff on YouTube. There's so many people who even aren't resellers, just general channels in general, where it's like, it's boring to watch, because you can tell that it's fake. You know what I mean? Or you can tell it's staged, or, oh, I'm going to place this here at this exact time so it looks good. You know what I mean? Like, and my channel is not like that. It's very like, I'm going to turn it on and you get what you get. Like, And I feel like that's what's worked for me personally. Obviously, like, you need to have like decent lighting. You can't have like dark, blurry videos, and, you need to have some knowledge and be able to share useful information with people.
Yeah.
But I feel like just by showing my authentic self in my real life and saying, hey, this is what it is. I'm successful at what I do, and this is what I'm doing, is what really drew people in. And I get that comment a lot, like, oh, you always say it like it is. You're just so real. I try your tips specifically and they work. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm not coming on here and saying, oh, share your closet and have pretty pictures. No, like, I'm trying to give you real facts about this is what's going to work. This is what's not going to work. And, for me, I hope it works this way for you.
Yeah, I think people need both. I remember searching for info in the beginning and finding certain channels, and I like ate them up and I wanted to know everything, and I watched all their stuff and I binged it all. And then as I actually got more into it, I evolved into the info that I was seeking. And that changed. And so now there's channels that I don't watch so much anymore, but I would totally be, I was so grateful for them at the time when I was very new. And now I watch different people for different purposes. And then that also shaped what I try to do. And for me, you do a lot of, like, you call it your reseller chit chat.
Right.
I think if I did that, it would be very all over the place. And like, I would just go from, like, I just could. So I have to make like actual notes and like make it a little bit more specific or deliberate. Otherwise I'd just be everywhere. Cause I wanted to do a channel for a long time, and I tried making a few videos like before I actually posted the first videos, and didn't put them up because I'm like, oh my God, like, you sound like a complete lunatic. And part of that is my charm, and I'll go with it, and that's fine. But like, you can only be so rambly because there's only so many people that and especially if I wanted to talk to reseller moms, I get so crazy when people take a long time to give me the meat of the thing. And I'm like, let's just get going. Like, we don't need to say hi to everybody. Like, come on, let's just go, we have a whole lot of time to sit here and talk to whoever. Oh, that's her thing. So for me, I'm always conscious of people's time and to try to be very to the point to keep myself on track. Yeah. But I do like when someone just gets on like you do and has a reseller chit chat, like, this is what's on my mind. This is what we'll talk about today. And here's what I think, because it is authentic. And I do like that. What I am going to do at this point, even though I could go longer and I'd like to, we'll have to make it be more of a continuation and have you back again, or you and I will just have to chit chat on our own. Because, I was really excited to do this to get more conversations for myself and kind of open it up and, and then have other people benefit from that while we just talk about here, there, and everything. But as you know, I do have my little guy in his school, so I've got 3 slots of time right now, and you can only do so much with your end. So I think what we'll do is, if you can let people know, you do have a YouTube channel, let them know what that is. You are on Instagram, and you do really, a lot with your stories, so let them know where they can find you there. And then we'll wrap it up, and then I'll definitely, have you back again. So let them know where they can find you.
Yep. So if you just type Maria Materasso into the YouTube search bar, I come right up. Its last name is Materasso, and all my videos will pop up there. You can find me. My Instagram is The Glam Thrifter with 2 R's at the end. And I don't post a lot of like regular Instagram posts, but I'm on my stories all day. So you can follow along with me there. And those are my 2 that, I'm on, and my podcast through those channels. So
yeah, for resellers, I think those are the 2 main ones, and I will go find the links and then put them in the description. I'm kind of bad about that because I have like my generic thing that I put, but I need to about making it specific to the actual video. I can't automate everything, even though I'd like to. But this was awesome. Thank you so much for being my very first guest, and to everyone that's watching, go and check out her YouTube if you haven't already. Follow her on Instagram. For those that came here because of Maria and are loyal followers of her, I'd love to have you watching the Reseller Mom Show. So be sure to subscribe and like this video. This is, again, the first one of Reseller Momversations. So I would really love your feedback. So leave me some comments. Was it good that we were kind of not scripted and off the cuff? Is there something that you'd like for us to talk about more, maybe the next time we get back together again and I have her on the show? So just give me all the feedback. I'd love to hear it all. I'm super excited about this and want to keep it going. So Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Best of luck in our upcoming Q4. And we'll catch you soon.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.